everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another little video. I hope you're all well. So for today's little video, I thought I'd try and do some little illustrations and doodles and stuff that combines two of my favourite things, which is Christmas and cute little safari animals. I think I'm probably going to start off by doing some little giraffes just because they're one of my nephew's favourite animals as well. And I really kind of want to make them like some cute little cartoon giraffe characters which are like in snuggy jumpers or wrapped up in Christmas lights, and yeah, just look all festive and cute and gorgeous because it's that time of year. I'm feeling very excited about Christmas, so I feel like I need to do some Christmassy artwork. I don't actually feel like I need to do too many proper giraffe drawings because in my sketchbook, if I just quickly show you, I've already got quite a lot of little giraffe studies that I've done in the past which I can use as reference. So I've obviously got these little ones, I've got these ones, and actually it's quite handy that that page comes out because I can keep it to the side of me when I'm working. Yeah, so I've got a few more little giraffe studies here and here as well, so I'm just going to keep them to the side of me just while I do this work. But I do feel like I need to just kind of warm up a little bit and do some little giraffe drawings, maybe in a couple of positions that I haven't drawn them in, just so that I can warm up, used to like their features again, so I can then look at how I can like change them into a bit more cartoony styles. I'm just going to quickly just draw a little thumbnail. I don't want them to be drawn too big, probably not much bigger than that. And I'm just going to, with a black biro pen, just kind of sit here and just sketch out a couple more giraffes, and then we'll go from there. I haven't really drawn a giraffe where the neck is facing upwards that much, so I think that's probably what I'm going to do. This little giraffe here I've done is like facing more downwards, and I think the other ones, all the necks are kind of heading more downwards rather than upwards. So I'm going to draw a few where their necks are facing upwards. Again, I'm going to do them quite little. They probably will end up a bit bigger than these boxes, but it's just kind of like somewhere to start off with. I'm just going to use a black biro pen just because I quite like the fact that you can get different quality lines. They're also quite like sketchy pens. Press really lightly and get very sketchy lines, but then press a bit harder and get slightly darker lines. It kind of, for me, loosens me up a little bit for when I want to do like really quick sketches like now. I'm going to start off with the neck because I feel like that's the most important part of the giraffe. Okay, so I've got a little bit of a front bit of the body. This is already ending up bigger than the thumbnail box, but never mind. I just didn't want it to end up filling up the whole page. Hind leg starts about here, got a belly under there, and rest of the leg, side of that leg. I don't want it to stick out too far. Quite like the fact that giraffes have got quite knobbly knees. So as I'm drawing this, I'm kind of noticing a few different features that when I start coming to do a bit more of a cartoon, it might be like I exaggerate certain parts of these features. So like the knobbly knees, and obviously the long neck is obviously quite a key feature on a giraffe. And the sliding to like back bit of the body is probably quite a key bit. That's why I like sketching them out first, so that I can start identifying features that I think make them look like what they are. They've got them funny little, I still don't know the names of them. I've drawn these so many times I think I should know different names of these giraffes, but I've got the funny little antler things which are quite important. Knobbly bit on the head, the nose is quite pointy, got a leg coming down here, front leg. Again, very knobbly knees. Need to get the knees to line up quite a lot. A little bit in between there that comes down. Side part of the leg. And I've got the rest of the legs down at the bottom. I've got one leg which kind of sticks out here. Another leg sticking out more that way. Another leg which is obviously behind here, which is in shadow quite a lot. So I can scribble in a bit of a shadow. Oh, this picture doesn't have a tail, but I know from other pictures that I've done, they do have quite long tails that come down to about their knees. Oh, we've got the mane, which is quite important. And that mane stops just above this bit here. Where's that? It's just the eye. Right there. And another bit of the leg down. And in. Knobbly knee. Really thin stick legs down at the bottom, and then I've got quite knobbly bits just before their hooves. I think that must be their ankles. The giraffes have ankles, I presume they do. And then little triangular bits for where the hooves are. And the hoof, I've done this bit a bit too low because I don't know if it comes about there. And then this one comes about there. And then obviously the other quite distinctive thing about giraffes is all the little patches. So let's draw them in. They do tend to seem to vary in size. There's not really that much uniformness about their little patches that they have. Do a couple on here. Completely ended up ignoring my thumbs now, but I don't mind. And it just gave me a style to where your eyes are now like because I'm working if I'm really sure about where I've put a line, I'll press a lot heavier. If I'm still kind of figuring out a bit, I'll press quite lightly and wispily. Is that a word? I don't know if that is a word, but you know what I mean. It's very, very lightly just to kind of guess where the mark is, and then when I'm convinced that I know where the mark is, I'll press a lot harder. So again, it's got quite knobbly knees, so it's obviously quite a nice feature that I can play with when I come to doing my little illustrations. This head seems really thin on this picture. Get the shape of the ears, okay. Let's bring the back of the body in. So we've got a belly, kind of like a kidney bean type shape. Bring the back of this leg in, type of shape there. This one's got the tail in the picture. Black dark tail. Bring this leg out. So their legs always seem to be sticking out at a funny angle, so they kind of go in, knobbly knee, out, in, knobbly knee, out. So that could be quite an important thing to remember when I'm doing a little cartoony style. Bring the back leg in here, bring this leg like that one. This leg is coming up behind. Then you can just see a knobbly knee, knobbly bite at the bottom. And then let's get these so they're on the same plane. And then obviously we've got the patches on again. Big patches combined with little patches, all various different shapes. Don't really seem to follow that much of a pattern. And again, the patches seem to go down the leg, although actually on this one they do seem to leave like little white marks on the inside of the legs, which I think I've realised before on one of my other little giraffe paintings. Like that, and stop just above the knee and then below the knee. Right, so there's a couple of very rough little sketches of some giraffes, mainly to help me figure out some features. So I think what I'm going to do now is actually just list down some of the features that I discovered. Let me just list them down in a box. Thin, pointy nose, although the nostrils do flare up a bit. Obviously you've got the neck, got the giraffe pattern, which is kind of like a mixture of big and large shapes. So you've got the mane going down to shoulder, the shoulder bump I'm going to call it, and then it slumps to back legs. So you got the funny antennae things, long tail, knobbly knees, skinny legs, and the pattern stops at the knee. So yeah, they're kind of like the features that I've identified just from doing these little sketches and from looking at my other little ones that I've got. So from that, what I'm going to try and do now is kind of come up with a bit more of a cartoony style giraffe and work out how to exaggerate some of these features. I don't want to exaggerate all of the features on them because I think I'll just end up looking ridiculous. But I think what I am going to do is just kind of pick a few to exaggerate and see if I can come up with a little cartoony giraffe. I might just switch for a pencil for this, or actually let's use a nice coloured one because there's a distinct lack of colour in my sketchbook at the moment and I do not like that. So let's find a nice coloured sketching pencil, a nice warm ready one because it is Christmas. There's also a distinct lack of Christmas on this page, which is why I'm starting off using a red pencil for a start. I think one of the key things that I'm going to need to sort out is how to cartoonize the face and like the head bit. Let's focus on the head bit for now. So I'm going to break it down into a few different little shapes and stuff like that and see which parts I want to exaggerate and then go from there. So let's just start off with a basic circle for the head, and you've got the nose coming off it, and then another little circle bit which is a lot smaller for the nose bit. And what I think I'm going to exaggerate actually is kind of like the pointiness of the nose and the nostrils. So if I draw a nostril in, make it quite a big bump, bring it down, and then let's give it kind of pointy lips. Side of the mouth, give it a little smile, be quite cute. Let's bring the neck. I want to kind of exaggerate the fact that the face is quite thin until it gets to the mouth and the nose. Let's thin out this bit a bit. I think the little knobbly bit on the head is quite important, even on the ones that I've drawn before. So maybe let's over exaggerate that. Give it the back of the head, drawing a nostril. The side of the face on this one's quite triangular, and that one is quite triangular. There it's quite triangular, so let's over exaggerate that a bit. The little horny bits are quite close to this little bumpy bit. Perhaps do it so they're really close. And let's draw an ear here. I think with the neck I'm going to make it look thinner, maybe longer. Do that. So that bit would be brownish colour. That bit would be a brownish colour. Around the side of the eye, eyelid, under eye. Oh, that ain't terrible for the first go. I think it looks a little bit creepy. I think I've definitely done the neck too thin, so let's draw another neck lining. Oh, and then it's got all the spiky bits. I wonder if I can cutesify it a little bit. Maybe if I again twist the face so it's looking a bit more towards you. So you have the nose arc there, round, the lip line coming a bit more down here. You won't quite see as much of this bit, a bit more of the mouth, under lip, top lip, nostrils, that funny little pointy bit, and let's put the antennae I'm going to keep calling it antennae. I don't know what it is. I should really look it up. Here. Side of face. Give a little neck. I need to move over to here to draw some of the actual body, but I'm just concentrating on getting the face right first, because I do feel like in illustrations the face is usually the selling point of a picture. Put the other layer in. Oh, I've done a neck too thin again. I think let's make it a bit wider. Makes sense for it to have quite a wide neck, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to balance its massive head. Give it a bit of a dopey docile face. Just going to do the head one more time, and then we'll focus a little bit more on the body, and then we'll try and make it look Christmassy, and then we'll go from there. See if I can fit another head in down here. I think I might try and squish it in a little bit more. So if I start off with a circle for the head, that's a bit more of a triangular shape for the nose, the dent in the bit where it joins, circle for the knobby bit. Make this side of the face a bit more pointy, a bit more of a skull maybe. Make that bit slightly less obvious, a little bump. Bring it down into a point. Move these back a bit more. Put them all quite close together. Draw an ear. Actually on that original illustration the ear is quite lower, so from this one. So maybe when I do come to draw the rest of the body, I'll be able to like put his head a bit at a different angle. Give it a bit of like what I call a Tweety Pie face. That type of big eye that they used to do on that Tweety Pie character. Neck, an eyebrow. It's annoying I've drawn this one so small because it's my favourite one so far. I think it definitely helped slightly less exaggerating the nose shape. Still giving it its pointiness and still giving it the nostrils or eyes, but just kind of exaggerating a little bit less. Works quite well for a little cartoon giraffe face. Just a little bit irritated of drawing it that small, but I'm just going to draw over it in a black marker pen. Thick, or should I use my thinner one? Perhaps use the thick bit just for the outlines and then the thinner one for the detail bit. Like that. I'm just going to switch to a thinner pen for the eyes and stuff. Okay. There. Eyebrow. Brown bit. Nostril 1. Nostril 2. And then give it a bit of a smile here, and then obviously the patches. Obviously there's still not any Christmas elements on this little fella, but I'm just trying to get the shape of the cartoon illustration first, and then we'll get it Christmasified. So I quite like that little face. I think that works quite nicely. I'm just going to colour in with just using some of my nephew's crayons that I've got lying around. So put a bit of brown in the nose, brown in there, and then some yellow in the face, ears, down the neck, a bit of brown in these little tufty antler bits. Oh, I didn't do any antler tufts. Let's draw that in with the crayon. Oh, I actually really like the combination of that red and that yellow, so keep that in mind. I think I'm going to grab a pencil. I'm going to try and extend the giraffe's body down, and I'm going to do it on this page now. Probably want him quite a similar pose to this one. Now it's going to be a tricky thing of trying to recreate the same face that I like to. Circle bit of a triangle for the nose, thin that bit out, another circle bit there, give it an ear, another ear. So the neck is obviously quite a key part to these illustrations. I think I'm going to really kind of elongate it. Don't want to elongate it too much because otherwise it'll look ridiculous, but just a little bit. I want to keep the bit where it gets fatter, and then also I think the next key point is making sure we've got this little shoulder bit in and that the spine goes down. A bit of a kidney vein shape here, so I've kind of shortened the body a bit. That little bump bit in for the shoulder. I think actually maybe I'm just going to keep the neck a bit straighter. I think the next key bobbly things is the knobbly knees, so I'm just going to draw some circles for some knees. And I quite like the fact that they kind of seem to splay around a bit, so let's really exaggerate the direction of the legs. And again on this side, exaggerate, and then the long tail. And I think I'm going to exaggerate the thinness, so you've got the fat parts of the leg, and then really skinny bit down here, and then the hoofs. That part of the leg, knobbly knee, really skinny, and then another hoof, the tweedy pie eye. Something I'm not quite loving about it. I actually think maybe the neck is slightly too long, which I know I said I would exaggerate, but I think maybe it needs to come a bit more here. So let's rub the face out, and we'll try and draw the face again. So let's try this head again, and actually I'm going to try and perhaps rise it up a bit. I actually do prefer that with the head facing upwards. I think that looks quite cute. I haven't got much Christmassy elements on it yet, but that is a basic little cartoon giraffe pose. Oh, I keep forgetting to do the maney bit. Remember, the mane does stop about here. Has to be a smiley face because it is a Christmas giraffe. Not that you could tell at the moment, but it is. I think for the Christmas element, number one, I think he should be looking at a star. His little head is looking upwards, so I'm just going to draw a star in. Now, I think I want to play around with something on the neck, so perhaps let's do some little loops around the neck. Carry it on around the body. Perhaps he's a little giraffe that's got tangled in lights, maybe. I don't know where the lights come from, but well, you've got all the little bulbs on the light, some of them sticking out in different directions, like that. Probably won't draw any bulbs on this bit, and this bit can be the plug bit. Okay, so that's my little cartoony giraffe. I'm going to go over it in pen in a minute, but I'm slightly wondering if maybe it's gone a bit too cartoony. I did quite like this style anyway, so I'm wondering whether, if I put this in the thumbnail, to draw another little illustration near it, but you draw it very similar to this one, and then perhaps do something else on it to make it more cartoony. So it's kind of like halfway between this one and this one. Right, let me just go over this in pen first. Okay, not gonna lie, I actually really don't like this one now. I think I've done something funny with the face. I think where I rubbed out all my lines, I couldn't quite remember what I'd done. The ears were meant to be slightly longer for a start and a bit lower down and stuff like that. So I'm going to move on to doing what I was saying earlier about perhaps making it less cartoony and a bit more so it's like in between this one and this one. Let's get my red pencil out again because that seemed to work quite well with this thing. Let's draw him again, but let's try and make him a bit more Christmassy. And just draw a little thumbnail box area type thing for me to draw him in. A nose, that bit. Try and exaggerate some of the features but not as many. So maybe let's make the bump quite exaggerated. Perhaps make them a bit longer. Actually, let's not make them too, because they'll look like clown features if they're too big. Oh, that rubs out. Didn't realise that it rubbed out quite that well. Well, that's good. Maybe quite exaggerate this bit a bit more. Make the neck quite long on this one. Bring out this bit. Perhaps keep the kidney bean body shape. I haven't got enough room for the legs now, have I? Let's raise it up a bit more. Yeah, we'll do the kidney bean shape. Like that. Flatten out the belly a bit more. Keep that neck nice and long. Right, so we'll do the over exaggerated legs where they're in slightly funky positions. So what about if I do a leg here, make it so these bits are quite chunky, big knobbly knee, and then really thin leg. Hoof. That looks a little bit like a boot. Perhaps I could draw like boots on a boots that cling to the top of their thighs. And give it a fluffy bit because it's a Christmas boot. Oh yeah, I quite like that there. And then it really highlights the fact that this bit is quite skinny. This bit does seem to stick out quite far, so maybe if I keep that bit sticking out and then really bring this leg in here, knee this leg pointing that way a bit, and draw like a boot there. One here, lovely knee, another boot there. So I'm kind of over exaggerating the hooves really and just turning them into boots basically. Got Santa shoes on, haven't you, Mr. Giraffe? Oh, he needs one more leg. Where am I going to put his other leg? I think it's a tail. Nice long fluffy tail. Perhaps do it so it's hidden quite a bit behind there. Then you've got a knee, the thin bit coming down and out there. I don't know why, but I really like that because I think it exaggerates how like all over the place their legs are. Yeah, a bit pointy. Give them a bit of a belly line. Wondering if he's a bit flat down this bit, so let's bring that bit in a bit. Right, I think I need to do something a bit Christmassy on the legs. Now I didn't really like the lights because I don't think it really went anywhere. What about if he's got like, I would say a scarf. Could do a scarf, but then that would cover up a lot of the patterns that make it quite clear it's a giraffe. So maybe, perhaps he's got like a really, like a Christmas jumper on. But I don't do it so it's very, very big Christmas jumper, so that you still get quite a lot of the neck and then the pattern. Also, I don't want to do it too close to his body because I don't want to make it look like he's strangling himself. The only thing is how do you get it to look like a sweater rather than just a big fluffy scarf type of thing? Curve it around. I think maybe give it some sleeves. Don't want to make it too long. And another set of sleeves behind there. And give it a little Christmas pattern. Maybe a Christmas tree, like that. Some pom-poms. Give it some cuffs on the jumper. And then that's quite handy because you can do it so that the main bit tucks in the jumper and starts sticking out again after the jumper. And remember, it needs to finish button there. So give it a cutesy eye like I did with this one. Tufty knobbly bits. So you've got the patches. Remember to draw some quite big ones down here. I might over exaggerate some of the big ones, mainly because it means that there's just less of them to draw. Draw some around here, and I'm going to go down the leg as well. Eyelashes, going to draw some eyelashes on the other side. Does it need the other ear? Could there be another ear there, maybe? Decisions. This one's clearly gone to a cold place. He's got a jumper on. To have boots to keep his hooves warm because I can't imagine they're like getting their feet cold. Giraffe at the North Pole. Oh, I quite like it. So that's kind of like a mixture between the really over exaggerated ones and the slightly more illustrated one that I done at the beginning. And I think it worked better because I slightly went a bit over the top on all of the exaggerations on these two. Should I colour it? I'm scared of ruining it if I colour it. Although I did quite like the way it turned out. So yeah, let's do the fine line and the black marker pen and we'll colour it, and then I might do one more and then that'll be, I think I might have got this out of these silly little illustrations out of my system by then. Let's just lighten up this a little bit. I think that's worked out quite nicely because it's like a little mixture between that one and that one. So we're ignoring this one. Quite like this one. Wondering if he's still looking up at a star or not. Let's just draw a star in anyway. Never too much to draw a star in. I'm going to get carried away now and draw too many stars, you'll watch. One there, one there, one there, one there, one there. That's enough stars, Meg. Just wondering if I can get one more little illustration in here and then colour it, because I really love the effect of this pencil. I do want to colour it in, but I don't want to lose the effect of all this pencil and pen. So perhaps if I draw another illustration in the same way, and then I've kind of got them to compare with. So let's try one more illustration. maybe he's like really tall compared to a Christmas tree or something. So I draw a little Christmas tree here, draw the ground, a load of branches coming off of it. Okay, so that's my little tiny little Christmas tree. Add a little star on. I think that's going to be quite a wonky star. I'm going to use this one quite a bit as a reference for this. So obviously because it's a cartoon, I can kind of exaggerate the bend in the neck a bit more. We'll have the head here. So I'm going to bring the neck a bit further up and make it look like he's having to fold it all the way down just to look at this little Christmas tree. Mustn't forget about the little bump bit. Put a bit of weight into the neck. I actually think I've done him too close to the Christmas tree now. Maybe need to put the star more down here, then make it wonky, and then put the tree in. I think he probably needs a Santa Claus hat. Actually, let's make it a small Santa hat so it's covering up the little antennae bits. Big wide leg, knobbly knee, thin line, knobbly knee, thin line, knobbly, thin line, tail, and then the back one. Let's make sure it's all on the same plane. Now the only issue with that is that because there's nothing else there to give it any scale, it just looks like he's looking at a small Christmas tree. And actually I'm just wondering whether his head, because it is so long, is looking a bit dinosaur, and maybe the head needs to be more there, which I think it probably does. So let's see if we can, doesn't matter if I can see a little bit of it, because I quite like being able to see the mistakes that I've made when I'm illustrating. So actually let's not exaggerate the head quite as much as what I did there, or the neck even. And let's put it here instead. So Christmas hat, ear, pointy nose, a little funny triangle thing. Move my little starry Christmas tree again. We'll start at more of an angle. Doesn't actually hurt that there's another Christmas tree that you can see behind it because it's in a Christmas tree forest. Maybe this little illustration snowman, like a tiny one. Body, arms. Or maybe the snowman should be here, like that. Right, let's just go over it with black pen. So now I think I'm going to work into this with a bit of colour. So I think I really liked using this and this colour together. So I might use the red as a bit of a shading colour. Keep the yellow, and then obviously we need to decide on the colour for the jumper and the boots and stuff like that. But I might figure that out once I've coloured in the giraffe. So let me just colour in the giraffe. Nice and yellow. That bit yellow, the back of the ear would be yellow. The neck. All the way down here. I can leave that bit quite white. And I'm going to leave that bit quite white. Make the knees yellow. Leave that back leg quite white. Front leg yellow. Knee yellow, but just like this side of this bit yellow. And then obviously I need to do the patches. Let me just see if these brown Crayola pencils work on top of these Crayola crayons. Yep, I might use some red ones as well, because when I look at this, they're quite multicoloured. So maybe some orange. Yeah, perhaps a bit of the peach. Yeah, maybe even some pink and some purple as well, just to make it a really vibrant one. I'm not 100% sure about purple. Oh no, we'll keep the purple out of it for now. So yeah, I'm just going to use a mixture of these ones to colour in the patches. I'm going to colour this bit with the brown crayon. Oh, let's give it a bit of a pinky cheek as well. Now then, I think I'm going to use the red for the boots. Now then, the decision here to make is whether I make the giraffe jumper red, so it kind of goes in with them, or like a greeny colour. Have a look. So if I do a little swatch of the yellow that I used, and then again underneath it, just the outline, because there's a black line in between them. Option 1. Option 2, crayon. Oh, that one might be doing it. A crayon green. Oh, I like that. I think I may have already made my decision, but we'll just try one more. So that's the red. Maybe that one for the Christmas tree. Now for the main bit of the jumper, and then like a opposite green, dark green for like this bit and these bits. Right, so there's one more thing that I think I need to work out, and that is like a shading colour for the white bits. So I wonder if I could get away with using this colour, which is obviously quite a blue colour. But if I press really lightly, I don't get much of it come through. So yeah, let's do one behind this leg bit here, under the belly, this leg here, white blue, under the chin. Okay, now I need to add some shading into a lot of the other areas. I think I'm just going to use a crosshatch technique for the shading. Gerald the jumper giraffe. Right, let's put a bit of white in. Move that white blob there because it's irritating me. So let's colour it in the orange, and then we'll move it. Blob. Make it less of a blob and more of a arc shape. And here as well. Well, here as well. So there we have it, my little silly little Christmas giraffe elf. Don't ask me why I decided to draw it, I was just in that kind of mood. So I did find that drawing this was quite helpful because it gave me kind of like the little bits and pieces that I think I needed to keep in to make it look like a giraffe still. So obviously I think one of the key things was the knobbly knees and the thin legs, so that makes it look quite giraffe-y, and then obviously you've got the long neck and the really pointy face. So they were the kind of things that I kept. I really like this little illustration. I quite like this little cheeky one here. I just wish it was slightly bigger. So yeah, these are the little original painted giraffes that kind of inspired me to do this little giraffe illustration. Really quite happy with it. It's slightly different to what I usually do, but I quite like the process of trying to figure out how to make it slightly more cartoony and slightly more exaggerated. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more of these style videos, then please let me know. See you again soon with another video. Thank you for watching. Bye!